And here is a reel that was taken outside of Oswego. We're back at Dogwood Bluffs again. And this is taken out at Boots and Margie's camp. Lo and behold, there's Debbie. So this was taken, I believe, when we came back from France. Yes, it was. There's my American Motor station wagon behind Boots's car. There's Boots and my dad. So this has to be 1964. May of 1964. Then we went on to Plattsburgh, where my father-in-law Herb and I went fishing one day and had fantastic luck with walleyes. Well, we position ourselves here for the photo. Now Herb is going to tell you a lie here. He's going to tell you I only caught one of those fish, but I know I caught more than that. I caught more than that. In fact, if the truth were known, I believe on this particular day I caught more of them than he did. Yeah, see, he's trying to tell you right there that I only caught one. He caught 7. But that's not true. He's lying to you. Here we are out in Herb and Lil's backyard. That's my brother-in-law, Dick Ailey, Barb's first husband, who tragically died in 1975 of a heart attack. That's Debbie in the foreground waving. I guess looks like Herb almost choked on that can of beer there. Schaefer beer. Schaefer, the one beer to have when you're having more than one. There's Gloria's sister Patsy. And Gloria sitting there in the lawn chair. I don't know who that was. We had the shot over their shoulder there. This is shortly after Mom and Dad moved to this, bought this place. It's the garage. And you're going to see a picture of a very young maple tree out in the middle of their backyard here in a moment. It's amazing how there's a shot of my station wagon. This is their first Chihuahua named Tex. He was kind of old at this point. Patsy is putting him through his paces here. And that's Debbie out in the backyard. You can get a glimpse of this maple tree right here. Just there it is, just on the right of the picture there. Today, that is a mammoth tree. Patsy and little Tex again, shaking hands. And here are the kids out in the backyard playing croquet. Patsy and Mike and Steve, and I'm not sure who that other girl is there. There's my wife sitting on the picnic bench out the back part of the yard. And this is Barbara. Barbara Hauser was just born as we returned from France, and those shots were of her first day home from the hospital. Mouth of the Oswego River in Oswego, New York, looking out onto Lake Ontario. This area is all changed now. This is in my folks' backyard, and that's the blue spruce that I planted when it was just a twig. prior to going into service. In 1964, this is what it looked like. There's my mother. My mother going out to pick up around the tree so that I wouldn't get that stuff in the picture. A little too late, Ma. Now we go out to visit Fort Ontario, which is out at the mouth of the Oswego River. This is taken from inside the fort, a couple cannons there. And here we are, Mom and Gloria and Steve, Mike. Here's some old cannons laying on the ground. There's my dad. There's Mom and Dad walking together. Home movies are a wonderful thing. Bring back people who are no longer with us. This is taken out one of the windows in the fort, looking out to the parking lot. I have no idea who those people are. This is looking out one of the gun ports there when they shot the rifles. Here's a look at the breakwater at the mouth of the river out towards the lake. This is looking down into one of the buildings on the fort. There's Mom and Dad. Here's the parking lot again around the fort. They obviously gave us a brochure to explain what the things were in the fort. I noticed my wife is reading it right now. There's a cannon. This fort was built prior to the Revolution. This activity at this fort took place more or less during the French and Indian Wars. There he is, your narrator with a pipe in his mouth. This was a young lady that lived down the street from my folks who just recently gotten married to this young airman. I have no idea what their names are. Now we're in Plattsburgh, as you can see by the sign on the door. This is when my brother-in-law Dick was working for that particular department. They were getting ready for a bicentennial celebration of the city of Plattsburgh. Everybody was supposed to grow beards, and this was Dick's attempt at it. Dick eventually wound up with a job in the fire department. This was Mom and Dad's store in Plattsburgh, which was situated right in front of their house. Here's a shot of Mom inside the store, and she is now realizing I'm taking this picture. Years later, my wife took over the store. Here, Mom and Dad Hebert coming out in front. To this day, that Schaefer sign is still in the window. I'm doing this narration in 1992. And these pictures were taken in 1964. There's Debbie. Five and a half years old at the time these were taken. It's my wife in shorts, something you'll never see again. I haven't seen her in a dress in over 10 years. And there I am. Didn't have much hair up there even then. This is in Albany at Bernice and Artie's house. That is Bernice doing the fandango on her back porch. What that move was, I don't know. But she had just given birth to Barbara not too long before these pictures were taken, and she's still a little chunky. Coming in for a close-up. And there's Linda, her daughter Linda, you saw earlier in the films when she was first born. This is the house that they built in just on the outskirts of Albany. Now we're back to Lake Ontario again, and that's my sister Irene with Debbie out at the lake shore. We went out for hot dogs and hamburgers, and which can be purchased out there at one of the stands, and just a leisurely afternoon or early evening meal. My dad, my wife Gloria, and my mother at the picnic table. There's Debbie in her bathing suit and Irene. Debbie is obviously trying to go somewhere. I'm not quite sure where she wants to be. But there is another youngster. Here we are at the picnic table having our meal. Gloria, Irene, and Mike. And Steve coming up to the table, my dad eating, my mother next to him. And this is a dog that happens to be at the picnic area at this time. And there's my big stomach, which I am exaggerating here in this picture, of course. My wife must have been taking these pictures. I think I just threw that shirt away last week. The Mad Smoker. God, look at all that hair. I guess I'm going to throw a stone. looking for a flat one, I guess, to make it skip. Let's see how successful I am. I'm still looking. I guess I decided on another one rather than one I had. There we go. Well, I don't see. Camera didn't pick up whether that stone skipped or not, but Debbie's going to try it. She winds up and she pitches. And we don't see what the stone does. She tries it again. Oh, okay, there it hit the water right there, not too far from her. She gets a little closer to the water, and let's go with another one. And I didn't spot where that one landed. She's going to try it again. Mike is going to try it. Yep. His did pretty good. I don't know if you could see it skip there, but I did. This is 4th of July celebration at the fort. Some of the fireworks there that took place that night, and I had my movie camera. Didn't come out too bad. Another blast there. There's a good one. Here we are on our way to Oklahoma. A brand new station wagon and a U-Haul trailer. We'd stopped for the night in, I believe this was Tulsa. Is it the Rawhide Motel? We'll see here in a moment. This was a nice motel we stayed at overnight. Debbie sticking her head out the car window. This motel had these nice murals painted every here and there in between the rooms. We'll see the name of the place here in a minute. I think it was a Rawhide Motel. Very nice place. There was the front office. Yeah, Rawhide Motel. Stagecoach up on top. This was taken from the backyard of our house in Midwest City, which is a suburb of Oklahoma City. And we were right in the flight path of the air base. You see an airplane here going into land. Shortly after we moved in, there was a fire out in the fields out behind our house, and you can see the smoke, and there's some of the fire engines were out there to put it out. It's kind of a scary thing to happen when you first move into a place to have a fire that close to you. There's another airplane going into land at Tinker Air Force Base, which was where I was stationed. There's some more shots of out our backyard, and there's a cloud formation also shot from our backyard. This was a nice house that we lived in here in Midwest City. There's a well that I dug. It's not a real well. It started out to be, but I hit a main water line that put in by the city, so I had to stop there and fill some of it back in. This is some of our flowers that we had around the house, and our rose bushes. There's our dog Clyde. He was born there in Oklahoma. We had his mother, and he was her firstborn. I like these roses. Built that little fence to accentuate them. There's Debbie with Clyde and the rose bush in back of her. Water was at a premium there, and it's the reason I attempted to dig the well, so I'd have water to water the rose bushes and the other flowers and shrubs and so forth that we had. But striking the main water line, of course, that would give me all the water I wanted, but I don't think the city would have appreciated my tapping into it there. So I just filled in enough to cover the... There's the well again. Made it look like a real one, but all it served, the purpose it served was to throw debris from the gardens and so forth in there, get it out of sight. Another aircraft going over. It's a C-144. Some more of, well, actually, those aren't our roses. Those roses belong to the man next door. There's some roses that we planted. This was not the climbing variety, though, that our neighbor had. I got several different color roses. This was kind of a purplish one. These were rose bushes that were already there out in front of the house, around the front entrance. Here's the other side of the entrance. You see our air conditioner that we had to get while we were there, we stuck in the window. Surprisingly enough, those roses did quite well for the type of soil we had there. It wasn't mostly sand and clay. This is a birdhouse that I built to look exactly like our house. Another shot of the well. And Debbie lost her shoe. This was another birdhouse I made, which was a replica, or supposedly was a replica of the house we lived in France. Number 91 and number 92. We lived in 91, and our friends the Huddlestons lived in 92. And these are some radishes out of my garden along the well side there. You could tell by that shot there was nothing in the well but dirt. This is my feeble attempt at a garden. It was very difficult to grow anything down there because of the intense heat, no shade whatsoever. First time I saw Debbie ride a bicycle is when I took these shots here. This is a neighbor's bicycle, but she certainly learned to ride it quick. Now this is later on. I planted morning glories on either side of the well and let them climb up the sides and across the middle, and this is the result of it. This is quite a windy day looking out in our backyard. Now we're on our way back home to New York. I'm being stationed in Rome, and let Clyde get a little exercise, and all of us to take a little breather. No U-Haul going home. We just put a lot of the stuff up on the luggage rack on top of the car and covered it with a tarp as best we could. And that tarp was in shreds by the time we got to Oswego. This is back in Oswego again. That's my dad fixing Clyde's chain up there for him. There's Clyde. This, of course, was taken after Mom had passed away. Dad was living there by himself. This has to be September of '66. Here we are down in Albany again at Bernice and Artie's house. There's Debbie, and this is little Barbara. This is taken after we come back from Oklahoma in 1966. This is late August, early September. There's Clyde inside the fence at Bernice and Artie's, and their dog Lassie. Two got along quite well. There's Patsy with her baby, Tammy. Tammy had been born earlier that year. There she is in her stroller. Today, Tammy has two children of her own. Lives here in the Plattsburgh area. Debbie and Linda giving Tammy a ride. That's Patsy with Tammy on a horse of some sort. There's Artie with his Chevrolet that he had at the time. Just coming home from work. Hi, Artie. Poor guy comes home from a hard day's work and got us to contend with. This is taken inside their kitchen. It's my wife. And we'll swing around and get a look at Bernice, who is doing her ape impression. She'll look up and find out I was filming this. Is already getting the charcoal hot for our barbecue. I'm going to have some barbecued chicken. For you youngsters watching this film, this is not the thing to do. You do not pour charcoal starter on a charcoal fire that is already burning. Not the recommended procedure. After this film was shot, Artie promised never to do it again. There's our charcoal getting started, and here comes the chicken. We had enough chicken here to feed the entire community, I think, from the looks of it. Look at that. And potatoes wrapped in tinfoil, be baked. A friend of Artie's, a fellow named Joe Miller, is riding his motor scooter there. Took Debbie for a ride up and down the street a few times. Having the time of her life. This is not the same Joe Miller that wrote the Joke Book, in case any of you are wondering.